I feel like I don't spend enough time asking you, how are you?
Well,
it's
good.
it's the year to ask someone how they are. It's a year to inquire about someone else's well-being.
Well, and here's the thing, because I feel like all too often people say, how are you? But what they're really wanting is just like an icebreaker for a conversation. And it's not that they don't care, but they're not actually wanting to know. It's just more like a, hey, by the way, and then like they get into the meat and potatoes. But yeah, 2020 is the year of like, no, like truly.
No, genuinely, how are you?
Are you like a millimeter away from just crying in public? Are you okay because you've got some, ice cream at home that you've been looking forward to, truly. I'm okay. I'm good. I am healthy and well, so I can't complain. Just like everyone else, I have my ups and downs and these weird and strange times, but for the most part, I am good.
But you don't want to get whiny about it.
That's for another episode. How are you?
Cool.
How are you?
No, not good. No, I burned my mouth. I've blistered the. See. So my chicken thigh was taking longer than. I didn't thaw it all the way properly.
Is this code for something, or is this actually chicken?
No. For supper, my chicken thigh, I didn't thaw it properly all the way.
Yep.
And so it was taking longer than it was supposed to. And then then all of a sudden it was the time in which we were supposed to record.
Oh no.
So I kind of like scarfed it.
Oh.
And, yeah. And so regrets have happened.
So when I sent you that message, like, let's go, and now I feel pretty much my fault is what you're saying.
You're hurry up, and I'm like, I don't want to eat too fast, and you're like, don't be a chicken. It was both ironic and rude.
That's funny.
But it's okay. I'm alive.
Good.
I'm no longer. I have departed from my echoey recording location. I'm back in a
nice
isolation. That's another word this year.
Ooh,
anyways,
yeah.
Let's get past this. 007.
Yes. Episode 23. Number 23.
My favorite number.
Yeah. So I think that's LeBron James's number 2.
Is it? I
or Michael Jordan
sports.
Or someone. I should know that, but I don't off the top of my head.
But genuinely, 23 is my favorite number. So,
I think that came up one episode. You picked where it ranked on the tomato meter, and there was there's a bunch of options, and you picked 23 as a result, and I think you got it right.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're joining our 007 series for the very first time, I don't know why. I don't know why this is where you landed, but that's
I know.
fine.
We
There's
say
22
that.
others.
No. We say that in a lot of episodes, but it could just be that someone says this, and then insert episode number is where I start watching in the series because I don't like the previous ones, or there could be a logistical reason why someone would just start here and then that's it.
That's true.
Because that's where I was 6 months ago. I was like, call me when you get to Casino Royale and I will join. Things changed. Yeah. I was here for the previous 20.
I guilted you.
You guilted me. So for those who are just starting now, I feel you. It's okay. No shame.
That's yeah.
You might not even know what Roger Moore means.
So once upon a time, there was a 007 film coming out this year called
No Time to Die.
No Time to Die?
Yep.
Never Do That Tomorrow or whatever it is.
You only live 3 times.
But of course that's not happening because nothing's happening this year because COVID. Yep. COVID sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag. So in preparation for that, I had never seen any of the 007 films. Now, I understand I didn't need to have seen them all. I could have simply watched the Daniel Craig ones.
Here.
However, the only thing I'll say.
Where are you going to go with this? There's a few ways you could go with this.
The only thing I would say is I have now having watched the first Daniel Craig James Bond film.
Sure.
I have an appreciation for the character. I have appreciation for the nuances of the character and the supporting characters and the whole sort of 007 mythos that
Maybe.
I definitely would not have had if this was my first sitting down and viewing a 007.
Sure.
So it's been worth it. Anyways, we take the films, we rank them on a scale of 0 to 10 in 8 categories. Then we take those numbers, we average them up, and that gives us the score for the film. And essentially what we're doing is we're looking for the quintessential Bond film. Not necessarily our favorite. There's been some times where we're like, oh, yes, this has been the best thing, or this is the worst. And it doesn't necessarily, the ranking it gets doesn't necessarily completely reflect that. But that's just because, if we really enjoy something, then maybe we want it to score really well. But depending on how it does in the categories, it doesn't always score really well. So, yeah, 23 films later, we're here. Now, we're going to do something a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, Pete is my backseat Billy. I don't.
I don't know what that means.
What I was going to say you would have asked me to censor out. So I'm not going to.
I don't know.
But so normally I say this is how I ranked it, and I say why, and then you say how you ranked it, and you say why.
Sure.
But it's opposite day today.
It is. Yeah.
Which means you're going to go first.
Yes.
Because you really like this movie, I'm guessing.
So here's the thing. I not only, I'll try and stay neutral till the end, but yes, I do really like this movie. I have seen this movie numerous times. You had not. So the reason of me going first for this one is I know how I feel, and the audience, sure. I've dropped hints before that the audience knows how I feel. But with the real curious kind of decisive moment, or what we're all wanting to answer, is how do you feel about this? And I feel that could go so many different ways. So each category, I just want to get it out there what I feel, and then just kind of you drop your cards, so to speak, or show your cards, so to speak, of what's happening.
I do feel it important to mention I watched it twice.
Yeah, sure.
For what it's worth.
No, that's good to know.
For better or worse, I watched it twice.
I also watched it twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you want me to drop you some knowledge on you?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So a couple
Normally
weeks ago,
you drop we're in sort of a routine where you typically drop a fat beat and then
that's not happening.
Drop the mic.
No.
And so drop some knowledge.
Harry Potter series. Check it out if you haven't. So if you had asked me a couple weeks ago how I was doing, I probably would have not given as much of a neutral answer. And I'm saying this jokingly. There was a point where I was just like James Bond fatigued. I was like, my Lord, I've been wanting to watch the Daniel Craig series for so long. And I was just like, enough. I just need to watch it. But I wanted to respect the process. We had gone so far. It would have been silly just to skip ahead, and it kind of would have ruined it, to be honest with you. I don't know.
You would have been doing a disservice to yourself.
I would have. So I did the next best compromise. I haven't told you this yet, but my wife and I literally just sat down for 4 or 5 sequential nights and chain watched all the James Bonds. We just blew through the Pierce Brosnan ones just to get to Casino Royale, and I made the most detailed, elaborate notes for each one just so that we could go back and record week by week.
That's amazing.
I needed the Casino Royale so bad. I was like, this is enough. I need to get here. And I'm telling you, throughout the James Bond series, more often than not, I just watched it on my PS3 in my basement, and if I had to go do something, I'd stop and come back to, I was just like, I'm watching it. That is what it is. Casino Royale was none of that. It was an event when it got to that night. Got the Blu-ray, the sound bar. We have a new 4K TV. Got that off. I turned the lights completely off. Everything was just rolling out the red carpet for this film. It was an event. And then that was about a week or two ago. So I just rewatched it again last night and just so I would have it more fresh in my mind. So
I have two comments. Comment number one, it amazes me then your note-keeping skills. Because for a while there, I had been one film ahead, and I was getting really confused. And so I'm now no longer one film ahead because I can't handle that.
Sure.
The other thing, I'm just imagining, like, you're telling me the story, you're telling me the excitement and the setup for Casino Royale.
Sure.
And I'm picturing just this funny scenario where, like, your wife comes home from work. The lights are dim or off. Some candles have been lit. There's some wine, maybe a charcuterie board,
sure.
some grapes.
Yes, of course.
You're wearing your best suit, probably the suit you got married in.
A deck of cards is out.
A deck of cards, and you are ready to go for James Bond. And unfortunately, she assumes something else is going on, and then there's a bit of a letdown, or not, depending on how much she likes Casino Royale.
For the record,
but yeah,
she was off. She was in, like, we watched it together because she was also waiting till the Daniel Craig because she doesn't mind that series as well. So it was a family event.
All right,
let's get into it.
Which means you kept your daughter up late so that she could experience it.
You know what? You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I agree.
So category number 1, we have all these different categories. The first is plot. Buckle up, kids. I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
So yeah, we've got a rebirth, and you mentioned this in the previous episode. We actually kind of have like a soft reboot for the first time in this series, like a new Genesis.
It's like, beginning of a new continuity.
Yeah, a new Genesis of James Bond. And, you know, the plot itself, it's simple. There's a villain. He shorts the market. It backfires to the 10th degree, and he's in need of some cash. He has to, Bond has to, play some poker with him because this guy wants to win some cash to pay off his debts. And it's simple enough that, they're trying to get him to lose his money so that they can bring him in. He has no choice but to kind of submit to MI6 and rat out all his employers. So it's simple enough that it's easy to follow, but it's on a scale that's very much worthy of a Bond story. There's high stakes. There's the risk of directly financing terrorism if you fail, right?
Which is a great line.
Yeah. So that's it in a nutshell. The simplicity, but the magnitude and just the context of the card games and everything that it entails and the roller coaster of the plot. I gave it a 10 out of 10. A couple specific notes I wanted to mention that I will give you credit. I only picked up on because we had watched all these films. So there's the henchman at the beginning in Nassau, the Bahamas, where his name is Demetrios. He drove a 1964 Aston Martin, which James Bond won at a card game. Mm-hmm. And of note, 1964 is the year that Goldfinger came out, which of note was the first time Bond appeared in an Aston Martin. The other thing of note is we've got this Mr. White, who is involved with a large organization, which is behind much of the film's storyline. So we get introduced to that, and we don't know a whole lot about it, but it's pretty important to the plot of this film. And that's a 10 out of 10.
Let's not, like, I don't know what's coming up in the future films.
Sure.
I don't.
No, you don't.
But let's not octopussyfoot around here. If this organization, if this big, glamorous, evil organization,
sure,
if this isn't Spectre, I'm gonna flip tables like Jesus did, because I have been
you have
pining for Spectre.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm very hopeful
Yep.
that Mr. White is somehow, I don't think he's number one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's, I mean, it'd be amazing to get a Blofeld at some point. That'd be,
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that's what that is.
Perhaps a new adaptation of Spectre, perhaps not. We'll see. What did you think of the plot?
I gave it a 2. I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Thank Moses.
I gave it a 7.
That's fair.
I really enjoyed it. It was easy to follow. When they gave you information, the information was easy to follow. This is the first Bond film. It's not the first Bond film that I've understood, but it's the first Bond film that I've understood effortlessly, where I haven't had to really pay grueling attention because one line is going to be spoken and then the rest of the plot doesn't make sense to you. This film didn't suffer from that. Having said that, I did feel like there was a lack of necessary information given at times. I was about 30 minutes into the film, and I was asking myself, okay, so wait a second. Like at the beginning where they're chasing that guy and they chase him to the embassy and they do all this stuff, why were they there? What was happening? What information did they want to get from that guy? Like that, I feel like that's never explained. And so like I reached the point, it was the moment where the tarmac chase is happening at the airport.
Oh, sure. Yep.
And I thought to myself, I'm really enjoying this.
Sure.
I don't really know how we got here. I don't really fully know I understand the story that's happening now, but it kind of just seems like a bunch of random events strung together, and I don't really have a grasp for. And I felt like that both times. So, like going into it the second time, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to watch closely. I'm going to find out what it is that I missed, and it just doesn't happen. There's I feel like an important point of exposition that just doesn't happen. Having said that, it's total blast. Bizarre. I would say that the climax of this movie is the poker game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so for a non-action, non-energy thing to be so captivating, to pull you in and have you on the edge of your seat the way that this poker game does, it's amazing, right? Like there's so much tension at that poker table.
That's an interesting point. That's very good, yeah.
I really enjoyed the plot. I'm wondering if my 7 is being a little too hard on it. But yeah, I just I would have liked a little bit further explanation of exactly what was happening. Of why are we onto this guy? Because Le Chiffre, we go after him. And he ends up being the one that but that's not even like we stumble on to the fact that he's the one behind this. It's like, oh, okay, Le Chiffre is the one behind this. And then you're left there going, wait, but behind what? Like we've discovered who Le Chiffre is, and we've discovered that Le Chiffre is doing X, Y, and Z. But what brought us to the point of looking, why were we chasing this guy down? Why do we care about what's on his phone? Right? And so that was that knocked it down a little bit for me. But overall, 7 is still, I mean, high above average.
That's fair. When you really got me when you said 2 out of 2, I was like, oh no, I'm preparing for the worst with this film. I'm just assuming that it'll have the Lost in Translation effect, where just assume he hates it.
You love it, so I destroy it.
I just assume the worst, and if he likes it, then All
right. Portrayal of Bond.
Portrayal of Bond, the next category. Surprise, I give this a 10 again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Hey.
I'm gonna. I have a feeling this episode is going to make me call into question the credibility. Like you're saying, oh, I'm going to be super unbiased, and so far this film has got 100% for you.
Yep. Preach. So here, let me give you the reason why. In this case, in this chapter of James Bond, we've got character progression, and we see so much more from Bond than we ever have historically. And again, when I watched the Daniel Craig films prior, I knew, okay, this is insert whatever we're talking about reason. This is a bit different than other James Bond films. I'm assuming, but I haven't seen all the previous films. Now I can say with a fact, yeah, this is different because I've seen all the films. We've never seen anything like this historically. So Bond starts off as his usual. He's arrogant, overconfident, very one-dimensional, very. But eventually we see more layers, which is something we've seen maybe a glimpse of. So we see, arrogance, cockiness. He does a bunch of stunts at the valet, at the resort, and is kind of arrogant. We see just pure, unbridled anger and frustration. And I thought that was unique. So when he originally loses everything at the poker table, there's a scene where he just is glaring at Le Chiffre, and just this like absolute rage and loathe. You can just see it in Daniel Craig's face, and it's just so contrast to Bond, because usually he always gets his way, and if he doesn't, it's only for a moment, and then he's kind of just moving on with his way because he resolves this problem. But there's just that moment of just, I personally never saw something like that with Bond. We see emotional connection where he's consoling a woman in the shower and they're fully clothed. He's embracing her non-romantically. We've never seen something like this before. Brosnan, Roger Moore, that's a spicy scene, and the film is less for it as a result, because in that context, it would have just not made sense, and it would have just been weird. We get more from it in this case because he does something just as a genuine human being. We see emotional loss upon Vesper's death. I'll grant you, we've seen that a touch at the end, like for 2 seconds at the end of Her Majesty's Secret Service, but it's just kind of like a brief thing, and then we don't see that character of Bond again, and we don't really delve into it much more. So I will say we do see it, but not to this depth. And unfortunately, he does kind of learn a lesson from all these events to never trust a dang soul again. So unfortunately, he kind of reverts back to the status quo, but the journey that we see in this film was so different and was performed well by Daniel Craig. So I will say 10 out of 10 for that very reason.
All right. I gave this a 9 out of 10.
Hey, that's okay. That's good.
Which is still the highest score I've ever given a 007 portrayal.
Right? Oh, wow.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? So we have character progression. We have a young, although he's not that young, but a relatively fresh 007.
Sure. He's about a third of the age of Roger Moore, so that would make him young.
He seems a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
He's not as tactful, and he's not tactful is not the word. He's likely going to cause the death of someone or cause an unnecessary explosion.
Sure.
Because he's not as seasoned yet. But yeah, we see Bond fall in love, genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we see a change in Bond.
Sure.
And maybe this is a spoiler for your one-liner category.
No.
But we talk about, he says, you're not my type. And she says, smart. And he says, single. Right? Like, he is still scum. He is still.
Oh, yeah.
He's not a good guy. He's a womanizer.
Yes.
But we see that change. We see him ready to throw that all away. He resigns to MI6. And there was just something. There was something genuine. There was something relatable. There was something real. And something that I feel like we haven't seen since Sean Connery. Now, Sean Connery, his Bonds feel a little cheesy and campy. But that's because they're set in the 60s.
Yes.
But his portrayal, but he's playing a real person. He's playing a grounded person. And just about anything that Sean Connery says in those movies, he would actually, a person would actually say, a person would actually act that way. And so I feel like this is the first time we've seen that since. Yeah, absolutely loved it. I thought it was captivating. Little strange. He doesn't quite have, at times his English accent seems a little subtle.
Okay.
Or somewhat muddled with a bit of an American accent. And
Sure.
so that pulled me out of it a couple of times. But overall, bright blue eyes, people were bent out of shape because he's a blonde James Bond.
Which, I mean, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Roger Moore was pretty light.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gave this a 9 out of 10.
Great. That's awesome. The next category is villain. I don't have a lot to say with this one, to be honest. It's very straightforward. I will admit this one, I was kind of hovering between a couple different grades. I think I maybe gave it I leaned towards the higher one, and I will honestly admit this is a bit biased. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, God.
I gave it a 9.
Okay.
And I'm withholding for a
respectable.
better score because I'm a Christoph Waltz fan, and we'll see how that holds up over the watching all the films in chronological order. But Le Chiffre is a great villain. He's cold, ruthless.
And
What?
And Rami Malek.
Oh, we have to wait so long for that, though.
I know. But
Don't. Anyway, Le Chiffre to me is great. Cold, ruthless, withdrawn and hidden. He's hard to get a read on sometimes, which again, is great for poker. And to be honest, his only flaw is just kind of more of a joke. It's just that he uses his puffer incorrectly. So, other than that, to me he's a great villain. Not too complicated, and he doesn't need to be. So, a 9 out of 10 for me.
all right. I gave this a 9 out of a 10.
Yes.
He's got a gimmick. He's a Bond villain with a gimmick.
Sure.
So sign me up. Not only does he have a buggered eye,
Which I was
but
just
he's a mathematical genius.
Which I was just Googling, like, the cast of this film, and when Mads Mikkelsen came up and, like, he doesn't have one odd-looking eye, I'm like, oh, right, that's not how he looks.
Yeah. Yeah, so... he's a mathematical genius. He uses that to amass a fortune in poker games. Because he knows exactly, if he knows the hand he's got and he knows what's on the table, he knows the probability of you beating him, right down to a decimal point of a percentage, and that's impressive.
That is. Yeah.
He's ruthless. I don't know when to talk about. I guess we'll talk about it now. It's probably the right moment to talk about it.
Sure.
The testicle whipping torture scene.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Like, it's just so. It's so good because he's. I find him very menacing, but I also like that he's got some dimension as well, right? He's got this. Like, we see him on the balcony. He gets like strangled, choked out, just about murdered. Then his girlfriend's going to have her hand cut off because he needs to keep his hand so that he can keep playing poker.
Yeah.
And he is driven. He starts out being driven by greed. First, his motivation is greed.
Yep.
But then he becomes really scary because then his motivation is desperation.
Yeah.
Because Bond hits it on the nose. If I'm not giving you the password, which means the people that you work for are going to hunt you down and cut you into little pieces while you're still breathing.
Yeah.
Right? He's the best at what he does, but he got a little cocky with it. He got a little reckless. He got a little careless. And now he's in trouble.
Yep.
And that's his motivation. And that makes him really scary. And so, yeah, Le Chiffre was... I think he was perfectly presented to us.
Yeah.
So I give it a 9 out of 10.
Awesome. Moving right along, we've got gadgets next. This one, I think we will differ. Just my prediction. I think it depends on our view and what we expected or what we wanted. I gave it an 8. And I'll tell you why.
What?
I'll tell you why. On merit alone, mainly for that DBS Aston Martin, literally breathtaking. It is so beautiful. I love cars.
Yeah, but all it has is a fancy glove compartment.
Just
like
wait.
It doesn't have.
Just hold on. I love cars. Listen, I love foreign cars, and this car was music to my ears. Yes, it didn't have much other than a fancy glove compartment, but does your car have an automated external defibrillator? Yes or no?
Mind your own damn business. I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Oh, true enough. So that to me, like, I was just weak for that car, so I'm counting it as in the gadget category. Of note, BMW was like all throughout the Brosnan years, so obviously there was a sponsorship, but Ford was pretty prevalent in the Craig films so far. And I was like, I remember the first time I watched this, I'm like, why are we driving Ford? Here we go. And then the Aston Martin shows up. I'm like, never mind, we're good. I will admit the gadgets in this are very tracking heavy. Like, you have a GPS tracker in Bond's wrist, which also relays like real time like blood pressures and heart rates and whatnot. So that is interesting of itself. There's another tracker in the Chief's puffer, and there's also like the keychain bomb transponder. So it's all very kind of one-dimensional gadgets, but to me, just everything that car brings to the table, the way it purrs and just has a few gadgets in that glove compartment, to me, 90% of it is the car for the gadgets for me. So that's why I was able to give this a good gadget score.
All right.
Where
I gave this a 5 out of 10.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I expected to give it much lower.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I was still pretty impressed. There's a couple of things I'm going to count in this category that you didn't.
Please.
I mean, you've mentioned a bunch of them already. We've got the little tracker in his wrist, the bomb, the car. I mean, it's a bitchin' car.
Yeah.
Like, there's no,
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
I love you too, Em. Love you too.
Some cool tracking stuff, GPS and whatnot. The one thing I'm going to include in this, just because it's not a gadget per se, but it's a think on your feet, secret agent training kind of moment.
Sure.
Which makes it to me gadget that it makes it he's making do with what he's got with him type thing. And it's when he's first poisoned, and he's smart enough to grab a glass and a salt shaker.
Yep.
In an attempt to get himself to throw up.
Yep.
And to me that was just really like, that was a great moment because Bond knew, all right, I've been poisoned, I need to try to get it out of me, which was pointless because if he was feeling it, then it's already in his bloodstream, and throwing up probably isn't going to do anything. It didn't do anything, as we saw. But yeah, super great moment. It's just like, because at first you're like, oh, what is he doing? And then you're like, okay, yeah. That I would throw up as well. That's super gross.
Yeah.
And then just, also, the defibrillator, trying to defibrillate himself. That was such a badass scene.
Yeah.
He's in the car. I was tense. I was like, holy shit. Like, I mean, I know that he makes it through, but like, man. And then speaking of the car, crazy moment. Probably one of my favorite moments in this movie. We've seen cars cut in half. We've seen cars blow up. But the barrel roll that he does in this thing to avoid hitting Vesper on the road.
Yeah.
Just like, they didn't hold back. They destroyed that car.
Yeah.
And to me, that was just a really great moment.
Sure.
But overall, I mean, it's lacking. We don't have any things hidden inside of other things. We don't have anything that's really screaming British intelligence technology.
Sure.
There's no ejection seats. The car didn't shoot rockets.
Right. Yeah.
And so, for that reason, it only landed a 5, but is still, like I said, higher than I was expecting it to get. So.
Sure. No, that's fair. I respect what you're saying. Next category is fights and action. I give this a 10.
Oh my God, dude.
You have to remember, for those who are listening to the show, this made it in the tail end of my top 10 films. So,
I have to edit out the part where you say you're going to be unbiased because it's just hurting your credibility entirely.
Here we go. So listen, and again, every time I give it a 10 out of 10, there's valid reasons in my opinion. So for this, it's fascinating that from quite early on, Bond is quite calculated. He bluffs and he's making bets and he's taking risks. And even when he's overzealous, it's for a reason. And just when he's doing that in action sequences in, kind of the storyline, it's kind of an overarching metaphor for the poker game that eventually we lead up to. So I think that's one thing that's cool. But the other thing, this is the cream of the crop. We're in the modern day Bond films. And with that comes choreography, stunts, effects. And I just remember, literally, like I said, my wife and I were watching it. The lighting was perfect. We had the 4K on. We had the parkour action sequence with the cranes and a few other action sequences as well. But specifically that one, when that sequence was done, when he was done all that crazy choreography, a few times my wife and I looked at each other and I was like, I've seen this movie so many times, but I hadn't seen it in a while. And I was so enthralled with some of these sequences. Like in other action films, I sometimes kind of clock out in the action because it's like, okay, this is just a bridge to the next part of the story. Action is action. With this, I was actually drawn in. I was captivated. And for that, I'm like, the fact that you can do this to me is like, as a film that I am just so interested and just adrenaline is pumping. It's a 10. Like, it's just so well done. And, that's all I can say.
Which means, like, I want you to acknowledge what it is that you're saying here.
Sure.
And any category that you've given a 10.
Yep.
Moving forward, it can only be as good. It will never be better.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
As long as, okay. All right.
These are big things. I'm saying you're right. But
have you been drinking? I feel
that's
a little loopy right now.
None of your business.
Okay. Oh, okay. I agree. I gave it an 8.
Cool.
Yeah, you know what? I think the thing that I appreciated the most is there's a lot of times here where Bond gets his ass kicked.
Sure.
Or he doesn't land a jump quite right and he falls and stumbles and slams into a steel roof and whatever else. It's realistic. He doesn't pull off any impossible jump or any impossible maneuver or ridiculous flip or anything. Everything he does is things that realistically you could do. And often it doesn't go as smoothly as it would have gone had Pierce Brosnan done it. And I appreciate that. It just made it feel more grounded. It made it feel more realistic. And so overall, I really enjoyed that. A Venetian building sinking down into the water. That's like what a crazy, what a crazy action scene.
Yeah.
The stairwell fight is enthralling. It's a lot of fun. And even like, the film starts it right out. We see Bond fighting a guy and then drowning him in the sink in the same bathroom that they shot the first Saw movie, I think.
Are you being sarcastic or serious?
I'm being sarcastic,
Okay.
but it totally looks the same. Like, whose bath? Like, is this an abandoned bathroom? Because whoever's responsible for cleaning this shit should be fired. Because it's like looks like something out of a horror film. But yeah, so overall, 8 out of 10. I was super happy with it. I'm not a big action guy. I don't really like action movies.
Yeah,
I'm not
no,
gonna,
no,
you know,
no.
I'd rather sit down and watch Walk the Line
Sure.
than watch something like The Transporter
Yep.
or you know, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's done right, it's done right, and this is a time that, you know, that it suited my taste.
That's very well put. I couldn't agree more. I'm in the same boat. That's why I gave it a good score, because I'm so the same. I'm not that. That's not my cup of tea usually, but it was done right. The next category is Bond Girl, and for 22 episodes now, Honey Rider.
Oh God, here, just say 10. Just say 10. Go ahead. We know what's coming.
For 22 episodes, Honey Rider has been kind of like the urban legend that we've always referred to. We've never reached that pinnacle of like, hey, we've got a female who's a good, you know, a strong, independent woman, has some backstory.
She's been the golden finger standard.
The golden eye standard. Yeah, listen, here we go. I gave it a 10. And again, I've got
my
reasons.
God.
I will defend this till I'm blue in the face. So, yeah, we're introduced to the Bond girl Vesper, who obviously for this film is important to the plot. But as we'll see going forward, she's quite important to the Bond storyline. And you know what? I gave her a 10 because there's the shower scene at Lake Como where she pronounces her respect for Bond and all that he's done. And we just see emotions with her. And it just adds depth. Bond says, you know, there's something driving you, Vesper, and, you know, as a human being at this junction in her life. And eventually we do find out what her motivations were. And all these things just make her a likable character and just brings her to life. And I'm going to quote someone here. She doesn't know I'm quoting her. And I thought it just hit the nail on the head. It's Amanda LeBlanc. And she put it so well. She said, Vesper makes Bond a better person, but that's not the Bond we know and love. And what I'll add to that is the audience in this film saw a glimpse of what Bond's life could have been with Vesper. And for better or worse, and I think it's for the worse, you know, that isn't James Bond, and that is not the James Bond we will see going forward, because that's not the story they're here to tell. That's not James Bond. But specifically with Vesper, yeah, she's a double agent, forced into it, coerced into it, and just ultimately she has a natural progression. She despises Bond at the beginning for his ego and arrogance, and that's not new. We've seen that so many times, but what I think is unique about her is her eventual coming around to it. That felt natural. It made sense. There were, you know, after Bond comforted her, after Bond tried to save her when she was kidnapped and he was tortured for her, you know, there were reasons that it was a slow progression to them eventually falling in love. It wasn't like they hated each other, then the next scene they were naked with each other, which is pretty much what we've seen in a lot of these films. So I gave it a 10 out of 10, and I'll stand to that. I'll hold to that.
I assume that you just gave a really lovely explanation, but all I heard was 10 out of 10, blah, 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 blah. Holy cow, man. I can't believe you're just, all right.
Yeah.
I think it's super, listen, I respect your scores.
Sure. Yeah.
I think you're incredibly biased.
You know,
I think
it's possible. We can't rule it out.
Okay. I gave her a 9 out of 10.
I can live with that.
Which is certainly the highest I've ever given a Bond girl.
Just out of context, what did you
several
give
points.
HR?
I think I gave Honey Rider a 7.
Right. Okay. Yep.
So much higher.
Yep.
Yeah, she's fun. She's mysterious. It's so good to watch the two of them interact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, the ending of the film leaves me wondering how many of those moments were genuine. You know, like, was crying in the shower legitimate? Or was that part of her cover? Was that part of winning him over, gaining his trust.
I'd like
right?
to believe it's true, but that's a good question.
Right? Like there's a lot of things you go, they got really close.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that was of necessity? How much of that how many of those cards fell into place, pardon the pun, just the way that they needed to, by design. So I don't know. Overall, she's a blast. I've watched the trailer for the next one, so I do know that the theming is heavily around, like any man that wouldn't want vengeance for the, yada yada yada. Like he's on a mission here. It is sad. It's sad. I never thought I would be sad to see Bond get his heart broken.
Interesting.
Up until this point, if Bond got his heart broken, you'd think, well, you bloody deserve it. Like,
right.
Serves you freaking right.
Sure.
But he's heartbroken. And he's trying, even when at the end, like he says, she's like, I can't remember. He's talking to M, and he says, the job's done, the mission's over, and the bitch is dead.
Sure.
But he doesn't mean that. He's just torn.
Yeah.
Like he's completely broken up, and like I don't know, man. Yeah, it's really good. Something confusing. And I don't know if it's confusing. It's confusing if they did it intentionally.
Sure.
And I have to think that they did do it intentionally, because how could you miss this? So like her original reason for being in the film, like the reason why she's interacting with him, is she's the one funding this expedition. Right? She's got the money.
Yep.
Well, she's not funding it, but she's like she's
looking
got
she's escorting the money,
in
like
charge of the treasury.
Yeah.
And he says, or she says, "I'm the money," and he replies, "Every penny of it." And I'm thinking to myself, like the first time I'm watching this, I'm like, holy shit, it's the new, like they just said it right there, money penny.
Oh.
Okay.
Huh.
I'm like, okay, cool. But then obviously she's not.
No.
And it's never, but so maybe it was unintentional. But yeah, she's like, I'm the money, and he says every penny of it. And I'm like, that's, it seems too although you didn't even pick up on it.
I've never picked up on that.
Coincidental to me.
Yeah.
For them not to have meant it. But if they did mean it, then I'm like, but
what?
But why?
Yeah.
Why do that?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. But 9 out of 10.
Sure.
For Vesper.
Sure. Supporting actors, this I will say I am biased. I gave it maybe a little bit higher than I should have, because we have had good supporting actor categories in the past that maybe have been better. But I gave it an 8 out of 10. So we have no more Q, no more Moneypenny. I did appreciate Giancarlo as Mathis. He was pretty dope. What I absolutely adore is I love Jeffrey Wright as an actor. So him as Felix Leiter, hallelujah, we are out of the desert. No more different Felix Leiter every other episode. I love him in this because he's not at a KFC. He's doing his job. He's looking suave. He's a solid character, independent, and has some significant plot implications. So I'm glad that he's on board in this with James Bond now. And of course, we do have Judi Dench as M. And, she's got some spunk in this one. At the beginning, she's on Bond's ass, doesn't trust him as far as she can throw him. And, eventually she kind of transitions in her role. And at the end of the film, she's kind of like emotionally supporting him, like walking Bond through, like, Bond, like, I can tell you're upset, but like, you do realize, like, Vesper, she saved you, she did this, like, she's kind of asking, are you okay, do you need some time off? She kind of transitions. So she's present, she's great in this. The one thing that I just want to know, for goodness sakes, and it adds a good element to the story, what does the M stand for when he breaks into her apartment?
Are you hoping I'll give you a response? Or you...
Yeah, that's all I want to know.
I was just giving you an opportunity to dwell on that. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, I'm just genuinely curious what that stands for. That's all I have to say. Supporting characters, 8 out of 10.
All right. What do we got here? Supporting characters. I gave this a 7.
Oh, so we were very close.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't miss Q.
Wow. Okay.
Not because I don't like Q.
No.
But just the film felt so complete that, you know, the movie didn't end and I went, but there was no Q. Right? That didn't bother me.
Sure.
And Moneypenny's always kind of been, you know, she's always kind of been a hit and miss. Take it or leave it. It's a fun little moment in each Bond film, but it doesn't really, you know, she doesn't really do anything.
Sure.
Yeah, interaction with them was great. Oh, and Bond, don't ever break into my house again. Like, and you feared her.
Yeah.
There, you're like, oh shit. Like, the best line by any supporting character in this movie is M's. When they wake her up and just, you know, they're like, he's in the Bahamas, and she said, oh, you're telling me his vacation plans? And they're like, he's accessing our server using your login and password. And she goes, how the hell does he know these things?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's such a great moment. It was the first time I've ever been excited to see Felix.
Thank you. Yes.
But there he is.
Yep.
And he's fun. And, you know, I too love Jeffrey Wright. I'm very looking forward to him in the new Batman.
Right.
Because he plays Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? It's a lot of fun. This movie is a lot of fun, and it's got a great supporting cast. And yeah, so I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Awesome. I'm very pleased with that. I'm very pleased. Final category that counts towards our score is the Bond song. Listen, no surprise here. Actually, the only surprise, if I could have given it an 11 out of 10, I kind of wish I had, I would give it an 11 out of 10. But I settled with a 10. Straight up, I got goosebumps during this. Shout out to friend of the show, Andrew. It's such an interesting montage. I independently love the song, but it's such an interesting sequence from a graphic design perspective. And I dare say the only intro with no silhouettes of naked female women jumping around. And it's honestly the best. And I just love it. And, you know, the more I think about it, it's an applicable song title because it's a new James Bond, new actor to us, but we know his name. We know it's James Bond. Just, we know his name. So I love everything about it. It's such a fun, choreographed kind of graphic design. Love the song independently. Mixed together, it's great. It's a fresh, vibrant new feel. Of all the things that I gave 10 out of 10, this is the one I absolutely will stand beside.
So just that one. All the other 10s you gave are negotiable?
On a hierarchy,
that's the one you stand by?
On a hierarchy of all the 10s, this is the least likely I would change. I don't want to change any of them, but this is the least likely I would change.
All right. I also gave this a 7.
Okay.
I thought the song was great.
Sure.
It had the right feel. The lyrics were fun. This is where things get really interesting for me. The sequence is what brought it down.
Oh, okay.
The sequence is fun.
Yep.
It's very inventive. It suits the film.
Sure.
But I don't, there's something about, let me give you an analogy here.
Please.
Let's say that for 10 years you drove a beat-up Chevy Cruze, whatever.
Okay.
And it had parts falling off of it.
Sure.
And it wasn't ideal in any way.
Yep.
But that was your car.
Sure. Okay.
You loved that thing.
Yep.
And so then you upgrade.
Okay.
Right? You get a Mitsubishi Highlander or whatever.
Whatever. Sure.
Whatever. And yeah, it's nice and it's new and it's shiny. But the seat isn't, it's going to take you some time to adjust to the placement of the steering wheel, and it doesn't have the sounds. It doesn't have the speakers that your old one had because you had upgraded those or something. You know what I mean? Like it's new and it's better or whatever, but something about like there's a nostalgic feature and it's just not there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
and so whatever this means,
sure.
I missed the presence of silhouettes of naked women. Just because we've had it for 22 other films.
If that's not worthy of a t-shirt, I don't know what is.
I missed the silhouettes of naked women. You know what? I thought I would be relieved to see them go. I thought it'd be refreshing to see them go.
Sure.
And in some ways it was.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was just something about like, oh, it doesn't, it's like you've gone off to college and you come home and everything, your room is just how you left it, except your parents painted your room.
Sure.
Everything's exactly where it was, except the walls are a different color.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, it just doesn't quite, it's nicer.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't quite feel like my room.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 7 out of 10, still super high.
Interesting point. I'm not there, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. So we've got, it sounds like we both have some one-liners. I'll share some of mine and we'll hear some of yours. They're just fun. This is in kind of the badassery scale. Le Chiffre is welcoming James, and he's like, "Well, welcome, Mr. Beach. Or is it Mr. Bond? I'm a little confused." And Bond just like stonewalls him, and he's like, "Well, we wouldn't want that, would we?" And just like walks away. And I was like,
and keeps walking.
Just keeps walking. I'm like, yeah, boy. So boss. And then you mentioned the point where Bond nearly dies from consuming poison. He returns to the poker table, and he's like, "I'm sorry, that last hand nearly killed me."
Yeah, that was so good.
So good. And another zinger to Le Chiffre. I love how he just trolls Le Chiffre, where, Le Chiffre says something and Bond makes a line about, "Oh yeah, no, I'm okay. I wouldn't consider myself in trouble until I'm weeping blood." And I was like, oh, so good.
And even Le Chiffre kind of like smirks. Even he goes, yeah, okay. Good one.
The last one is not so much funny, just more awesome. Just in the context of the concluding scene where Daniel Craig closes it out by saying the name's Bond, James Bond, to the context of the film, to the 007 theme playing, so baller. Metaphorically, I literally stood up at the end and was like, hell yeah. And
of note, the first time that the Bond song plays in the movie.
Right. So, so we've seen some corny stuff. I don't want to beat on the movies that we've seen more again, but just it's so contrasting to those that it's just so smooth and such a vibrant kind of hitting the nail on the head for a finish that it's awesome, and it's a zinger of a one-liner. Were there some that stood out to you?
Not other than what we've already mentioned,
cool.
And then you just kind of mentioned.
Yeah.
There's lots, but they're all subtle and they're all good. There's none in this one where you're thinking to yourself, ugh, oof.
Oh, yeah? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I just said there's none in this one where you're thinking, oof, that's rough.
No. Yeah, they all land. They choose their moments and they land.
Yeah.
All right. What?
So I'm afraid to ask, but what the hell does this thing get out of 10 for you then?
For me, it's a 9.
Wait, whoa. Don't answer that yet.
Okay.
What's the next closest highest one?
How do you know it's in number one?
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So prior to this, the leader was Goldfinger at 6.5. Goldfinger
Right, okay.
at 6.5. So Goldfinger was dethroned by Casino Royale. Surprise. I was really surprised. I gave it a 9.3 or a 9.4, depending on how you round it. So we'll call it a 9.3.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
You're gonna round down. That surprises me a little that you would round down.
Gotta stay neutral. What did you give it out of 10?
Does it matter?
It does. It really does.
I gave it a 7.6.
Ooh. Now, where does that rank?
That puts it exactly 0.1%
Okay.
higher than the current leader.
Oh, yes.
Making, just edging out Goldeneye.
Right.
Making this the standing quintessential Bond film.
Quit the podcast now.
Which means
it's over.
Which means a couple of things.
Sure.
Well, it's so interesting that it's certainly my favorite by more than 0.1%.
Really? Interesting.
Oh, yeah. I loved this movie. Watched it twice. Was excited to watch it the second time.
Oh, this is music to my ears.
But from the scale standpoint,
sure.
Again,
Yep.
only 0.1% higher.
Right.
And a lot of that was gadgets.
Yeah.
That brought it down. Had Daniel Craig had a laser watch and whatever else.
Yep.
Might have brought it up.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But what it does mean, what we can definitively say, even if Casino Royale gets dethroned,
Yep.
the quintessential Bond film is a Daniel Craig James Bond film.
Ooh.
Making Daniel
True.
Craig the quintessential James Bond.
True.
That is something we can call now.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah. Like, for me, we can call it right now. Like, I'm going to say this is my quintessential Bond film. I haven't scored the next films on my scale because I still have to watch them, but I'm thinking it's a pretty safe bet.
But you've seen them.
But I've seen them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Some things. So I usually ask
How
you.
excited are you to sit in a theater with me and watch No Time to Die?
What's that?
How excited are you to sit in a theater with me and watch No Time to Die?
I hope excited. Like, I'm hopeful that it happens. I hope it's not.
Well,
postponed.
I mean, it will. If it may be postponed, but it'll still.
Yeah.
If a theater can be open for us to watch it in,
yeah.
then there's no reason we can't watch it in the same theater.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even if we have to sit four rows apart, which is no different than how we always see movies. Like pre-COVID, we never sat together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, because I think it's more interesting to the people around us when we talk quietly amongst ourselves 4 rows apart.
Right.
What do you think of that part?
Whoa, dude.
Whoa,
man.
I saw this last night. Just wait. He's about to tell her he doesn't love her.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I have a question that I ask you, but there's some other stuff I want to get to here. Okay. So, let me just see. I've covered that. We always talk about why did the actor for James Bond change. So it's kind of just conjecture. I don't really know. I read just Brosnan wanted too much cash, so they just said, screw it, let's just do a grittier rebrand and let's move on. Some interesting names who were considered for this role. Buckle up. There are 2 that I thought were notable. The one was considered but not chosen in Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm. Cavill. Yeah, I did know this.
Preferred.
I did know
he was preferred by the director. However, they deemed he was too young at the time.
Yeah, which is why I think he'll be the next one.
And I'm okay with that. The other, which is just no for so many reasons, apparently he turned it down himself, was Christian Bale, and he jokingly said he felt he already portrayed a serial killer in Psycho. I don't think he was the right choice. I'm glad they didn't choose him.
Yeah, and I don't like Christian Bale. I'm sorry. That's a bold thing to say.
It's very bold, but I don't like him in the role of James Bond, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Here's something. So you got to put on your thinking cap here. I mentioned something back.
Wait. Mine has a buckle, so it takes a second.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, we're good.
Okay. So when we reviewed, it feels like 100 films ago, but it was only 20 episodes ago. We reviewed 22 episodes ago. 21, sorry. We reviewed From Russia with Love. Okay.
Right. The second Bond film.
The second Bond film. And there was something that I kind of just said, put a bookmark in this. We'll come back to this later. And I'm going to refresh your memory of what it was, because I didn't want to give anything away. So what
that's good, because I've forgotten entirely.
I knew you would. So at the end of From Russia with Love, something interesting happened to me, and kind of red flags started going up. So what happened? There was almost an interesting parallel to the ending of Casino Royale, and I was captivated. So at the end of From Russia with Love, Bond is in a hotel room with the Bond girl, and he's betrayed to a degree by the female companion. And in the end, it wasn't to the same degree. And, Bond stopped his perpetrators, the bad people. And I think he even struck a Russian spy woman in the face. So it ended up being not the same at all. But in my mind, when it was kind of leading up to the same trajectory, I was just fascinated by the parallels that would have been. Because again, at the end of Casino, we've got Bond betrayed by a lover in Venice. And I think that just there would have been the parallels, but the utter contrast would have been night and day. So in Casino Royale in the 2000s, Bond is beside himself. He's a shell of a man. In the 60s, if it had been the same trajectory, Connery would have, if he had been betrayed, he probably would have, I'm not even being sarcastic when they say this, but in the 60s, he probably would have shrugged his shoulder, grabbed a newspaper, and just sat on the balcony and had a scotch and been like, all right, well, what's the special at the bar tonight? Let's head out with the boys. Just the emotional contrast would have been so fascinating. Ended up not being the case, but just I thought that would have been so interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the big difference would have been he would have been sitting on the boat saying, "The bitch is dead." Essentially, that's the difference. That's how it would have gone.
Another thing of note, this was the first Bond film to not feature Q since Live and Let Die. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is one of the demerits of Live and Let Die.
But
funnily enough, not a demerit of Casino Royale for me. So
yeah, that is interesting. Of note, I've been to Nassau, the Bahamas, but I've also been to Venice, and two places that I made a point of going to in Venice. The first,
this is a weird time to just start flexing on me here.
It's very applicable here. The first was I went to the church from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade that's in Venice. The second, I went to the street or the canal where they filmed the collapsing building scene.
Right. Accidentally? Or
No. I went there. And I kind of read online, they didn't really obviously sink a real building. They used a miniature. So when we got there, it was like, well, this is pretty. It's nice, but it's like every other street in Venice. So.
But it's still friggin' intact. What the hell?
This is bull crap.
Sink this shit.
Question for you. Do you drink coffee with cream or without?
Oh, both.
Okay.
I'm one of those.
Cool.
Yeah, both.
Question 2, that's related.
Never with sugar anymore.
Oh.
I'm off the sugar. Maybe milk. I would do milk.
Okay. Yeah.
Cream if it's available.
Sure.
If I'm needing sort of an easier drinking experience, cream.
Sure.
But if I'm ready to just kind of grab my day by the balls and give it a twist, then black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you think this film lands on the tomato meter of James Bond films?
What is the highest available option?
So the only options you have, and I'll give you the highest, it goes 2, 5, 17, 18.
Okay, it's 2.
2.
I'm going with 2.
Nailed it. So it is 95%. Goldfinger is 98. So it's a second place. Technically, actually, ironically, it's tied percentage-wise with Dr. No and From Russia. No, sorry, just From Russia with Love. So, but I think the two are not, like, there's, in my mind, a huge difference as far as enjoyment. So,
as far as enjoyment, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Wow, I think that's it.
For the first time in a while.
Yeah.
The next 007 film is feeling less like a task, less like an assignment with a deadline, and more like I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yes. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting because you have no idea where this goes, and that's a fascinating chair to be in.
Well, I know that it goes to the quantum of solace, whatever the flip that means. But
right.
There's got to be the stupidest name from any of these. Anyways.
I don't know. There's some pretty rank ones. Like, yeah.
Like, what the hell is a thunderball?
What is an octopus? Anyway. Never mind.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Wrap this thing up.
Cool. If you haven't done so already, please like, follow, subscribe on all our social media pages below: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Please like, comment, subscribe. We love hearing feedback. Thank you for listening. If you're feeling like helping support the show, helping pay the bills, you can check out our Patreon page and our merchandise page. And if you're not at that level of support, no worries. And just thank you for listening.
Stop telling them no worries.
But there are no worries.
First, you're not Australian. Second of
that
all,
is true.
Guilt them a little.
Oh, no.
If you're not at that level of support, maybe ask yourself why. Maybe take a good hard look in the mirror, throw out the pack of cigarettes, give that habit up, and just ask yourself why.
That's true.
Why am I just not being the supportive self that I can be today?
It's always good to cut back on smoking. That's true. Okay.
Yeah, that's the moral of the hell movie did we just watch? Casino Royale. Don't smoke.
Don't smoke.